there's a whole slew of sports being played. All right, you ready?
We got it here, man. We don't need it on paper. Right off the top.
When
Proficient fans
when there's two things
freestyle.
that happen, when there's two things that happen over the whole week, it's not hard to keep track of them. So, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Proficient Fans. My name is Stevie, and with me is.
It's better than Michael Jordan, Clay Haggard. I don't even know why I said that, bro. I was just trying to get some shade right off the bat. And all the haters out there, if you're the one saying that I'm stupid, you're the reason that there's global warming. People like you.
I'm looking forward to that conversation, man, because not global warming, but I just got to say.
Right, but global warming, fuck it. It's just global warming, guys. Calm down.
I just got to say that Al Gore told you. He tried to tell you, nobody listened. So, what was that?
Doc called that he put out several years back?
Something truth. Oh my gosh.
Anyways.
Anyways, how you doing, man? How was the week?
It was good, man. I had a good week. So big news. Well, not big news, but got through my work week, and
an inconvenient truth.
Yeah, Saturday comes along, right? And I get done with work, and I'm like, all right, I got the UFC fight tonight. I was like, I'm excited, and I was like, damn, do I cheat keto? Do I stay true to keto? I was just feeling like I needed to get something for myself. You know what I mean? For going a little over a week, and I was like, nah, I can't do it. So I drove out to the store. I was going to go buy a steak. Didn't have the cut I was looking for. Barely even had steak. And I was like, fuck it. They got some keto ice cream. You get these little pints or these little anyways, keto ice cream. Didn't have those.
The Ben & Jerry no dairy? Is that what you're getting?
No. There's a brand called Enlightened. And they make normal ice cream, but they have a keto line. It's actually not bad. But there's pints, but I just found the last 2 weeks ago, a week ago, whenever I started this, actually, they have these just bars. So they're almost kind of like those
skinny cows.
Basically, in a sense, yeah. But they're keto collect.
You can tell I have a wife that eats all the fucking when she looks for the cheat. Ooh, let me get.
So, but I feel like when you eat keto ice cream from a pint, it's almost chalky. In a sense, because obviously it's got different.
Yeah. I don't know how.
I felt like the bars are fire, so I drove all the way out of my way to go to Meijer, 3 times further than Kroger, 4 times further away than Kroger, because I was like, I gotta get my steak, and I want to get. Which I wanted to go to a meat shop close by actually, but they were closed, and I was like, well, you gotta go to. I'll get it at Meijer. Long story short, man, I'm sorry, I'm ranting right now.
You're
Anyways,
good, man.
Long story short.
We got an hour podcast we got to fill up, so talk away.
I walk out of Meijer empty-handed. I'm like, fuck this, dude. Work stressed me out that day, and I was just like, don't get my shit. And I get a text message from Nick, and I'm looking at it, and there's a Smirnoff Ice sitting by my apartment door. And I was like, that motherfucker at my apartment right now? Justin had called me twice. Call him up, and I'm like, yo. He goes, hey, you watching the fight? I'm like, not right now. I was like, I'm on my way home. He goes, all right, cool. Prelims start at 7 o'clock. And I'm like, are you at my fucking apartment, bro? He's like, yeah.
Oh, no way.
So
really?
It surprised me. They were
That's
at my
awesome.
apartment. So I come rushing home. And, of course, we order pizzas. We fucking have pop, candy, cookies, all the shit, bro.
Keto. Here's keto out the window.
Yo, bro, I fucking booted that shit. So, but I do it. It was awesome. I absolutely loved them for that. It was hella fun. They stayed over, and then Friday came. So what did we do? We ate leftover pizza, and we fucking got Taco Bell because might as well, kick me while I'm down. It was fucking stuff. So yeah, man, that was super dope. I got to kick it with them. Got to watch those UFC fights, which we'll get into a little bit, and then. So it was a fucking awesome weekend, man.
That's dope, man. That's real dope. I almost hit you up just because Tara was she was in a vibe, man. She got done with work, and she was just sitting there, and we all know we played rummy, and then we got this. So cornhole. This lady that my wife knows makes. I feel like I should know the name of the company because we plug them. But she makes these little wooden ones that you play on your kitchen counter with quarters.
Okay, yeah.
And you bounce it and up against it, and you kind of score it just like cornhole. Well, because my wife is dumb. No, I love her, but she's a Michigan fan, and
eats ice cream and likes Michigan.
Yeah. So like she had one made Michigan and one made Michigan State, so we sat there and we banged out this little quarter game.
That's dope.
She caught her vibe, and then she's like, "Yo, I'll watch some fights with you." And then like I was kind of like pushing. I was like kind of pushing because the fights had already started. And I'm like, "Hey, so we ready to go in this living room watch these fights?" And she's like, "I'm out here jamming, man." You know, she's like, "I'm like, you know what? You're right. You got a vibe going. I'm not trying to kill it." Da da da. But I brought it up to her. I'm like, she's sitting there talking about, oh, you know, so and so sitting out by the fire, you know. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you know, the differences between their husbands and yours? And she's like, what? I'm like, I actually care about sports. And the fact that this is the first live sports that we've had on, I'm like, yeah, I'm a little excited to watch this. I was just like, you get a fire on a random fucking Tuesday.
Yeah.
I was like, you get that kind of shit regular. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not, you know, good for them. But I was just like, this is a big thing for me.
Yeah.
And so, but she was down. She watched, and then I thought I was getting ready to hit you up and be like, yo, what's up on the halves? And
yeah.
On the later fights on the main card, but she's like, what? I'm going to bed now. And so I was just like, all right, I'm gonna go about my regular way of watching this. So
yeah, I don't blame you. It was, dude, it was good actually. So
it was a ton of fun to watch.
We can roll right into it. Might as
well. I like it.
So yeah, so obviously the prelim. What do you remember by chance the first fight you saw, roughly?
Oh shit. Give me. I wish I should have had that. Hold on, let me pull up the. What page are you on?
The first.
Yes, UFC.
No, I'm at here. I'm gonna copy.
I'm actually going. Oh, you putting it in the notes?
Yep.
I was just getting ready to go to UFC's webpage, so.
Nope, takes too long. There you go. So anyways, first fight was Ryan Spann and Sam defeated Sam Alvey. Didn't watch that fight. I don't think so. Maybe I did see that fight. I think I saw the tail end. Next fight, Bryce Mitchell, Charles Rosa. That's where I started watching. That was early prelims, which is crazy. I didn't realize I watched so many fights. Did you see women fight?
No. So,
did you catch Cowboy Anthony Pettis?
Yes, I watched Old Nick. I watched Old Nick. That's what Word him.
We're doomed.
We're doomed.
Dude, Justin corrected me, and he had to correct Nick. I said Wordham twice, and he corrected me, and then Nick right after me was like Wordham, because we put money on the fights. Me and Nick did because I had a little over $100 like on this website from the Fury Tyson Fury and
Wilder.
Deontay Wilder. Thank you. And so I was like, I'm about to put some money down on these fights, man. So we did 2 different parlays, and then we did a straight up bet on the champion. So I definitely ended up not winning my parlays.
So that Old Nick fight, did you agree with that decision?
You know, I don't know. It was close. I thought probably Olenek fought better all around. I'm surprised that, or I should say, I'm not surprised after finding out that Werdum was out of the UFC for 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, he put up a great fight for.
He did. To go all 3 rounds. I was surprised because I was like, oh man, he looks out of shape. Like he may not be able to go. Who ironically I put my money on. I put my money on Werdum to beat Olenek. And Olenek ended up winning on split decision, so that shot 2 of my parlays right away. Boom, gone. Because the other one is I picked Donald Cerrone over Anthony Pettis. I picked.
That was a good pick.
Francis Ngannou over Rosenstrike, and then I picked Gaethje over Ferguson.
Okay.
So I had 2 parlays, one 3-pick and one 4-pick, but both of them included we're doomed. So I fucking shot myself in the foot right out the gate. But I ended up winning big money on Gaethje. I ended up breaking even. Long story short. So Anthony Pettis, Donald Cerrone. You watched that one?
Yep.
Did you have anybody picked, or did you what kind of feelings did you have?
I was I was rooting for Cerrone to win, just because he's a legend.
After watching him get whooped on by Connor's shoulder, I was like, you know what, this guy's gonna come back and he's about to whoop some ass. And I've seen Anthony Pettis lose before, so like it's not like I'm super high on him either. Not saying he's a bad fighter. I'm just saying like. I
was gonna say I went with Cowboy just out of nostalgia. That's Anthony Pettis definitely won that fight. Yeah. I mean, but I was rooting for Cerrone to win. So
you really thought Pettis won? I disagree.
I could see why people disagree, but I see why he won though.
I thought he maybe won like one round out of the three. I really thought Cowboy landed more like bigger strikes on Pettis, and I just felt like he controlled it. It was close though, man. Like it's not like I thought he was cheated. I just thought Donald Cerrone fought a great fight, and I thought he did what he needed to do to get the decision. But as Justin always tells me, the refs and the judges in the UFC are
just terrible. They're worse than boxing,
bro. They pour their milk.
Boxing.
They pour
How
their
can
milk
you be that bad?
The cereal. They pour milk before cereal.
Yeah.
Like they wear wet socks purposely. Like they're those guys.
Or like,
gals. I don't know.
What's wild to me is that and I wish I knew more, but as far as Dana White has such a hand on the UFC, and making sure he puts out a great product. Every fight he puts out. I mean, shoot, I think they got another fight Wednesday and then Friday, something like that. They got like 2 more fights coming up. Nothing. They're not big ones or anything.
Yeah,
they
like always. More, I know they always fight Saturdays. Every Saturday.
Yeah. So, but he has such a hand. I would think that he would have it where he actually could be able to get good judges that are consistent up and down the board.
Mm-hmm. They're trash everywhere. Justin told me that it's always the same refs too. So like if you go to Vegas, it's always the same 3 refs. Yeah. Like they don't change. It's whoever's like a part of like their committee for the state or the city or however that works.
Well, they had one dude look like Bobby Hill as a ref.
That's funny. The fucking problem is they don't have any old fighters that are judges. They're all just like random people who like don't compete in UFC.
Shit, there you go.
Like
I don't know if you came up with it or what.
Justin brought it up in conversation Saturday night, so I'm not taking full credit for that. But I'm saying when he mentioned it, I was like, you're absolutely correct. Like, with the UFC, I mean, granted, mixed martial arts have been around for a very long time, but I'm sure those judges were either folks who had been grandmaster years before and are just to the age where they don't practice anymore. Like somebody who's like actually involved with mixed martial arts, like front and center, you know what I mean? I could be mistaken on that, but I have to assume that at the highest level, you keep, experienced and talented judges who can pick up on technique and, are looking for what these fighters are doing to win these matches. But I don't know, man. I just, when it comes down, like even during the commentary, I believe it was Joe Rogan. He even said, he goes, if I were so and so, I think it was during the Greg Hardy Jorgen De Castro fight. He was saying, man, if I were Jorgen, he goes, I'd be throwing punches. He's like, because I would not leave this decision up for the judges. Like they were basically saying, don't leave it up to chance, because like they'll fucking pick. They don't pick who most folk think are winning these fights. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Dana's been saying, don't leave it in the judge's hands for years, man.
Which, I mean,
He's
you
just
tell
like,
all fighters. That's how you get action.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, there's been enough fucking turmoil, as far as when it comes to the judges
Yep, I'm with you.
to really prove that. So
This is what happens when you don't charge your laptop before the podcast. You got to do it right in the middle.
that's what's up.
Which brings me to that Jorgen De Castro fight and Greg Hardy. Anything? You catching anything from that? Did you catch anything?
Well, what's your question there? I guess
That's not a question. I'm saying, like, what did you find it? Like, I did not realize that Greg Hardy was a UFC fighter, the same Greg Hardy that played in the NFL.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I didn't either until that fight came up, and they were like, Greg Hardy, and I was like,
yeah.
what the fuck? And then Justin's like, yeah, man, he used to play in the NFL. I'm like, I know who Greg Hardy is. I just didn't know Greg Hardy fought.
Yeah. And I guess I didn't even realize that, and I was sitting there, I was just like, all I could think of was, man, this Jorgen De Castro dude looking crazy out here.
Yeah, Greg Hardy.
And then I was actually kind of disappointed. I was just like, this isn't gonna be a good matchup. I mean, Greg Hardy definitely looked better. I personally thought, during that fight.
100%. Apparently that Jorgen throws bombs, but
yeah, it's a good fight for him to get into. Yeah.
Well, Greg Hardy.
I didn't have much. I mean, like,
he's on like a 5 or 6 fight win streak now.
Good for him, man.
Yeah.
I like to see these. I like to see players cross over. You know what I mean, into other careers.
Yeah, he's
Herschel Walker.
6 wins, 2 losses, 5 by knockout. 1 no contest. 6-2-1. Not bad. Let's see what came after that fight. I'm still on Greg Hardy. Come on, computer. Bam.
Not true.
Calvin Kattar and Jeremy Stevens. I don't remember much of this fight, to be honest with you.
That one. So I think I fell asleep during the. This is the fight that I fell asleep during the. The little commercial breaking when they were waiting to bring in.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I know Kattar won. Yeah, he was throwing a lot of fucking elbows. I remember that.
Did one of these guys not make weight?
Yeah, no, I think that was Jeremy Stevens.
Yeah.
He came in over. Pretty sure it was him.
You know what's great for our listeners, and I think a lot of our listeners are as knowledgeable about MMA as we are, so they're getting to learn it as we learn it. Because I would have to say that a majority of our listeners that start listening to us from our day ones, are they are football, basketball, baseball cats. Go green.
Go white, baby.
Not a good week for our go green, go white though.
No.
But so yeah, I missed that fight, but and then the next fight, help me out here with the names.
Francis Ngannou, and we're just gonna call the other guy Rosenstrike.
We'll call him KO because he got knocked out.
Dude, he got knocked out quick. 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Francis Ngannou, first of all, I was really excited to watch him fight because I've seen like hype up videos of him in the past from the UFC, and I was like, not only is this dude a big dude, they're all heavyweights. This dude is like jacked, like he is toned. He is a damn machine. It's like a T2, it's like or T1000. There we go.
Yeah.
That dude's a machine, and he caught Rosenstrike with one shot, dude. Just one cross. Not a cross, a hook. Cold. Knocked out, up against fell on his ass, put him up against the wall. Caught, 2-3 more shots to the head?
On the way, yeah.
Host, bro. I don't want to get punched by him, Francis Ngannou.
How much money is on the line?
Enough to cover my hospital visit, and then enough to like do something nice with.
Buy myself something pretty.
I'd take a shot to the face for 10 G's. I'd do it for 10 G's.
From Mike Tyson, he's seen him working out lately.
Mike Tyson, dude. How much, dude? He's ready to fight, bro. Hey, I saw something about him fighting. Is that true? Is that real?
Man, so here's the thing: is he got some stuff in the basement? Still quoting a Rocky movie. Some stuff in the basement, like.
Yeah.
He sat there, and I wish I would have pinpointed what he said, but more or less, he's just like, there's something that's kind of awakened inside him, and he's not saying that he's coming back, but and if you remember, 3 to 4 months ago, I believe it was, he had that conversation, that interview, and he kind of started crying because he was just talking about how, like, how he was just built up as this man, and he was just like, and I was known as this, and now I don't have anywhere to go with it. And it was just, at that point, I think that was the tipping scale of,
excuse me,
bless you, that, there's something in there. And for a man that is and was as dominating as he was in his prime, and to go out the way he went out of boxing, that has to not sit easy.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, now he's just like, I heard somebody use this phrase talking about Michael Jordan and the whole docuseries. This is Mike Tyson feeling his mortality.
Sure.
He's old. He knows that, now granted, he's still talked about and always will be talked about as one of the greatest boxers of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you've reached that height, could you ever imagine being the pinnacle, the absolute best, and then not being that anymore? That can't sit well.
Sure.
How do you feel about not being the best? They're the best because they were never complacent.
Mm-hmm.
And
here comes Tyson.
Yeah.
In better shape than he was in his goddamn prime.
I know, right? Fucking monster.
Dude, he's looking mean. He's lean, dude. He's dropped so much weight.
Yeah,
he's jacked.
And he's so fast still.
Oh.
Like, he's faster. Now, the only thing that it's his chin that I don't know about. Because here's the thing. He's faster than Fury. He's faster than Wilder. He's faster than, the boy from England, Joshua Bradley. Anthony Joshua.
I knew it. I was just testing you.
Yeah. He's faster than all three of those dudes at that age. Just for the little snippets I've been seeing on social media. But I mean, that's pretty fucking good. He's 50 something.
I'd watch him fight Wilder.
I'd watch him fight anybody.
I'd watch him fight anybody too, bro.
Honestly, he's a fucking gladiator. You're gonna have to line 5 people up and he'll knock them all out.
You could put him up against a Make-A-Wish Foundation kid, and I'm still buying that pay-per-view. I'm still buying that pay-per-view, bro.
Word.
Shit, they just wanted to go quicker. They said, "Fuck it, I'm good." Ding ding.
Oh.
Too far?
No. I like it.
Real talk though, I would. I'd watch him fight him.
Oh, all day.
Jumping back into the UFC, let's see if we can get through this card. So Francis Ngannou, comes out monster, rocks him. I think he has a legitimate shot at beating Miocic and getting the belt. I really do. Not to downplay him, not Miocic, but dude, Francis Ngannou's a bad man. He is a bad man.
He just walked in and it's just like, let me end this quick. I'm hungry.
And he got called out. He was just like, I'm not too sure why he's calling me out, but so
It
fun.
is
He was
what
like,
it is.
he goes, I didn't even know who the guy was. Yeah, DC's up there. DC, oh man, Justin and I were joking during it. We were like,
DC,
dude,
I think DC. Oh, go ahead.
he's number one. But it was funny because DC was commentating, and basically we both came to the conclusion that we were like, Ngannou better call out Miocic because DC wants none of that. Like he wants none of that. He's gonna call out Miocic. If he beats Miocic, DC is gonna be like, you know what? I'm retired. I'm good. Like I fought my fight. I'm just gonna stick to commentary until Ngannou retires, and then I'll come back out.
I tell you what, him and Joe Rogan on a good commentary table would be fantastic, man.
Absolutely.
DC's he's a good listen.
Yeah.
It's it's you get two guys. That's the thing I love about like when HBO had boxing and you had Max Kellerman on there with either Roy Jones or Lennox Lewis, and Lampley, who knows the sport in and out. I hate it when they put people that don't know the sport well enough to commentate the sport. You know what I'm saying? That DC shit. He's a good commentator now. Although I don't know. I kind of think he watched that and said, "Wow, that's amazing. I want it."
You think DC wants to fight Ngannou?
I think DC isn't necessarily ready to be done.
I would agree with that. I
think that he wants to go out on top. You don't want to go out with some punk fight.
No, I understand that, but like you also want to like live. Like, you don't want to die in the octagon. Ngannou's carrying fucking law and order right here, dude, and he's fucking serving justice in the heavyweight division right now. You don't want that, bro. No one wants that.
I just think as a competitor, you're gonna want.
I agree with you. I'm on the bandwagon heavy right now. I wanted Miocic to beat DC also. I don't hate DC by any means. I'm not like a fan, even though he's done some amazing things in his career. I just thought the Miocic, the DC fight, like I just thought the Miocic coming back would have been like a really cool story. So like I played into that a little bit, but this Francis Ngannou, bro, I understand I'm kind of judging him off of one fight, but I've seen what he's done on his come up. And
How old is he?
Hold
on. I think I got it already. New tab. Here we go. Let's just go here.
Take longer.
He's 33.
33. Yep. I have 32 on the UFC website.
Well, I went off the link that you gave me, and I just was able to click his name.
Wikipedia, that is user-based knowledge. I'm on UFC.com, sir.
There you go.
He's probably wrong.
Yeah.
Francis. That's one Francis I would not fuck with.
You calling him Frank?
I'm calling him sir. Yes, sir.
Oh.
Tell you what, man. I know how to not get my ass kicked, and that's to not be the enemy. All right. After that big heavyweight fight, we had the first title fight of the night.
Yeah.
Which came down to Henry Cejudo and Dominic Cruz. I didn't know too much about either of these guys. I've seen Cejudo fight. I watched him fight. Justin just reminded me. I didn't even remember it. Dillashaw. TJ Dillashaw.
Yeah.
And then Dominic Cruz. I didn't realize he had been out of the game for so long, man. Like Justin, once again, because I get all my fucking knowledge from him, and also when UFC's on, he doesn't shut the fuck up. And I say that with all due respect, Justin. You know I love you. But this dude was just educating. And I'm like, I can't even hear the pay-per-view I bought. Like let me hear this shit.
Let me hear Joe Rogan talk.
He's so hyped. It's why I get excited for fantasy football every year. Because
Right.
like I know I'm just gonna destroy everybody around me during the draft, and so I talk about all the great draft picks that I have while I'm making them, and moving on.
UFC.
Anyways, Henry Cejudo, bro, like he had a good ass fight with Dominic Cruz, ended up winning, um, got the belt, and then decided that he was going to retire from the UFC in his post game speech in the octagon.
Yeah, which I watched an interview with Dana, and he wasn't a surprise to him. The surprise was like right after the match. He knew that there were talks of that he was going to retire, but he's just like, I didn't really expect it to happen right after the match like
Sure.
that. And um, but that there I had. I mean, I was not overly surprised with the way that kid came
Yeah.
through and just fucking
So let me ask you
mollywopped
this:
him.
that was the fight where Dominic Cruz was on his way up, and the ref stopped the fight. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Henry Cejudo threw that nasty right elbow right in Dominic Cruz's face, dude. Like literally mouth, nose, bam,
Yeah.
right there. Um, and fell right on his ass. And of course, Cejudo gets down to business and starts throwing huge shots at Dominic Cruz, hitting him in the head. I counted 11 or 12 punches to the side of the head. Now, granted, while this was happening, he was slowly getting to his feet the best he could while getting smashed in the face. But before he could get all the way up, the ref stopped the fight. And Dominic Cruz was pretty upset after the fight, stating that, if he's getting up to his feet, the ref should have let it continue. To that statement, I agree. But in real time, it it did look like it could have went either way. But in slow motion, when you see how hard he got shot, I mean, eyes roll back. He goes loopy for a minute, falls on his ass because he got hit so damn hard,
Yeah.
and then immediately starts taking giant shots to the face. As a ref, in that situation, we have to remember that there's two options these referees can take. One, stop it early, like they did. He got hit extremely hard. You cannot deny that, and then got hit multiple times in the head, regardless of his slow effort to get up. I think the stoppage was in all fairness, because the alternative is the ref lets it go. Now let's just play the scary game. Dominic Cruz suffers head injury, brain hemorrhage. Dominic Cruz loses consciousness. Like something bad happens. Like, was it worth it? You know what I mean? Like, would it have been worth it then to let it continue? And from a fighter's perspective, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, die on the battlefield, but like these refs have a job. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And I think that there was enough evidence that Cruz got hit way too many times and wasn't defending himself enough to call the fight.
So, excuse me. The ref's job is to, call a fair fight and basically be there to protect the fighter, right?
Both, yeah.
So the ref, you can't be mad at the ref for doing his job, because exactly what you just said, the guy got hit a lot without any defense.
Hard. Yeah. That elbow was devastating. That would knock most people out.
But no, there's no but here. From what I can see, right, is it's getting so close. I would have liked to have the ref known where they were at in time.
Sure.
Because there was only 2 seconds left and we would have went to a new round.
Yeah. So here's my argument to that. They slap like blocks every 10 seconds left of every round. He should have been.
That's what I'm saying. That's
tenured enough. Yes. So he should have been tenured enough to hear those slaps. And then you just start that internal. Yeah, you start the internal timer. You kind of understand the situation. And I would agree with you. Like, let it play out. What's the worst case that could have happened? I can't believe he didn't stop the fight, but they would have always resorted, but Saved by the Bell. You know what I mean? Like it would have nothing really would have come of it, I think. And yeah, we would have gone into another round, and who knows, it could have went the other direction. So I definitely see both ways. I just personally can't sit here and criticize the ref. I personally, I thought there was more than enough there to justify.
Put your fucking hands up.
Yeah,
if you as a fighter, put your hands up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you're gonna complain about the fight getting, called, the ref has to sit there and be like, he's not defending himself. He's not with it. Yes, he's trying to stand up. That you could just try to stand up out of fucking pure fight or flight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean that you're conscious enough to know what the fuck you're doing. I'm with you. You can't blame the ref on this.
Yeah.
I wish that ref would have done this, but I mean, I woulda, shoulda, coulda, so.
Yep. Which, side note, that definitely leaves the belt up for grabs again. I think they're bantamweights. So now in the bantamweight division, we got a belt up for grabs. So we may end up seeing something like that next. We got what? Who you got here? Marlon Moraes. I can't even read that. I don't know why these names are so small. Marlon Moraes, Aljamain Sterling, Peter Yan, one of the two. I'll be honest, Jose Aldo is the only one I know, and he's down here at 6. I guess he's bantamweights I don't follow. Anyways.
I mean, that used to be the WEC thing from back in the day. Like back when Uriah Faber was actually worth something to speak about.
So, anyways, back to the fight of the night, the lightweights, Justin Gaethje and Tony Ferguson. So, what kind of outlook did you have coming into this fight, if any?
I personally thought that Ferguson was going to pull this one out. I don't know. Once again, just somebody I've kind of paid attention to throughout time, more so than I did Gaethje. Mm-hmm. And
was it because he's a Michigan guy?
Who? Ferguson?
Tony Ferguson. He's from Muskegon.
Oh, you know what? I didn't realize that, but yeah, probably. That's probably the reason why I started following him. I just forgot about that.
Yeah.
Because he's been fighting for a while.
Yeah,
man.
He has some wacky workouts too, man. Always keeping his body guessing, rolling around, flipping around, doing random shit. I don't know if you've ever seen his workouts on Instagram. If you haven't, jot that down. Go check them out. They're absolutely bananas. Like he'll be running around and like throw himself onto it like a dummy on the ground, but then roll off of it like barrel roll style. Does some weird stuff. So actually,
it's crazy. He's 36 years old. I know you're getting ready to get into it, but he's 36 years old, and he's got a total of 29 fights. Like, I feel like he should have more, being that old.
Yeah, I hear you. He hasn't been in the UFC. I don't think he's been in the UFC as long as we think he has been, though.
Right.
So like I was telling you earlier, I don't know if it was off mic or not, but I definitely decided I was going to put some money down on all these fights, and one of my bets was just straight up on the championship, and I chose Justin Gaethje, which obviously ended up working out for me in the long run because he definitely fought a phenomenal fight.
Took him to the 5th round, and I mean, this is a great fight.
Playing chess, man, and this is his first title fight. Like he's not used to those going the distance in 5 rounds. Where Tony, I believe Tony's been in that situation before. I could be mistaken on that, but yeah, no, man. I feel like Justin Gaethje. I've been following him for a little bit now, mostly on social media. Just kind of seeing some posts and things like that from him, but. I put my money down on him. The dude rocks guys, man. He throws fucking missiles, and I just had a good feeling. You know what I mean? I didn't even like think about Ferguson. I was just like Gaethje right from the beginning. So it was really cool to see him, dude. I mean, normally he's one of those guys who kind of throws himself in the middle of the action, gets a little over aggressive, a little thirsty, if I may, and puts himself in harm's way. He takes shots to deal shots. Which when you're fighting somebody like Tony Ferguson, you go shot for shot with a guy like that, most of the time you're going to end up losing that battle because He's has such an unorthodox style of fighting that, you're going to get caught off guard on one of them. So Gaethje put a ton of combos into him, man, really messed up his face, but instead of over pursuing like he normally does or has shown in the past, he played it. He was a little more methodical. Is that a word? Methodical? Sounded good. Sounded real good in my head.
Finish out your sentence.
A good use of method. His method of fight.
Yeah, methodical.
Here, that's what I said, right? Methodical.
Yeah.
All right. Nonetheless, let's just put it in layman terms. He beat that ass.
He did.
and he did it smart. He was smart about it. So yeah, man, I don't know. It was a phenomenal fight. I know it doesn't seem like I'm excited right now, but it was.
When you're watching it is different. Like you're like, ooh.
Yeah, I mean, him, Nick, and Justin, Nick, and I mean, even Nick, somebody who doesn't like per se follow the UFC, edge of our seats during that fight, man. It was such a good fight, and you knew at any point in time somebody could throw a haymaker and knock the other one out. So going into the deeper rounds, you knew that at any point in time, Ferguson could have just thrown one or two shots and changed the whole outcome of that fight, because I thought Gaethje took control pretty early on.
Oh shit!
And
technical
difficulties. Technical difficulties. Ignore the one. You're probably like, that was random. You know what? It never happened, because in a parallel universe, we don't have technical difficulties, so it doesn't matter.
Spider-Verse.
Long story short, the title fight, absolutely amazing. I mean, even Nick, somebody who doesn't per se follow UFC, on the edge of his seat during that fight. Like, granted, we also had quite a bit of money riding on it, so maybe that's what got him going. But yeah, no, man, it was definitely a card worth watching. And at the end of the day, I mean, let's just generalize this. Like you said earlier, man, we have sports. We got to watch competitive sports over the weekend. How good did that feel? Just sports were on.
Oh, it felt wonderful, man. I was so happy to be able to see that, and I really wanted to get into this conversation with you about that. And this is this is what got me more hyped than the card itself. Fantastic card, one of the best cards I've ever seen the UFC put out there. Well done. But they were able to get a professional sport to actually go on with almost without a hitch. They did have one fighter test positive for Corona or COVID-19. And it was, I mean, the fact that you only had one there's a lot of people that are involved. In each corner, how many people did you see?
Mm-hmm.
4, 5?
3.
Only 3?
Mm-hmm. Like, talking about like their trainers and all that?
Yeah.
Each fighter, there was three per crew.
3 per crew?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and they all had masks on.
Mm-hmm. And then took them off for the picture.
Yeah.
Good use of the mask.
Well, it's I was gonna say, but the thing
no,
is,
I know it's just funny. Wear your masks, but take them off.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're yelling and shit like that, I mean, there's spits flying out and all that stuff. So, all in all, like I was very impressed with the fact that they got that to go on, and I mean, they had to go to Florida for it, which I mean, the weirdest shit happens in Florida, and they were able to get it done in Florida, which I thought was a really cool thing. And Dana White was mad impressed with Florida, the governor, the fight commission down there. Basically, they made themselves known as, hey, we can host a fight down here. We can get this done. They put their hat in the ring to be, I think, a good place for more fights to happen at. Once again, like I said, I watched a Dana White interview where he sat there and said, I'm recommending anybody that wants to get an event going, come on down here to Florida. They'll get you figured out. Mm-hmm. And it's not just because of the money part of it. It was the professionalism and the safety that they were putting forth to try to make sure they could have an event that could go off without almost a hitch, So,
hey, I'm all for it, man. I got nothing against it. They were in Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Yeah. Which I would think
So-
Miami would be the hot spot. You know, that's where the money's at. I mean, I'm not downplaying Jacksonville. I'm just saying, like, Miami being so, like, glitz and like,
here's
partying and all that kind of shit. It's like Vegas.
But that's the thing. They're not those. But you got to think about it. Those people that go down there to Miami and stuff. I've never been, but from anybody that I've ever known that went to Miami and partied down there, this shit doesn't pop off until late. That's the reason why the Miami Heat. You look at those games down there. It's not like a sporting town.
Mhm.
It's a party town. So I mean, you would think, oh, there'd be a lot of people. The only reason why people showed up to the Heat games were when Dwayne Wade actually had them going into playoffs and actually contending.
Sure.
You know,
I just figured, like, if I'm gonna pick something similar to Vegas, Miami would be my closest Vegas. in
Vegas
Florida.
is known as a fighting town, though.
I mean, I'm not
boxing-
disagreeing. You're talking about incorporating fighting into Florida. Now you're arguing to me why, like, these cities don't make sense.
No, I'm just saying Miami doesn't make sense. Like,
I'm-
you got to go to more of a working. I think for Vegas is Vegas,
All
right?
I said is that's
built
where
up.
the money's at. Like, that's where the money's at is Miami. That's all I'm saying.
I just don't. I'm not saying that you can't get a
Not to-
draw there. I just don't think you're going to get I think you get a better draw from going to a Jacksonville, a Tampa Bay, and Orlando. Then I think you're going to get more of a.
Too.
I think you get more of a draw from those places than you do Miami.
Sure. I mean, they chose Jacksonville for a reason. So
Yeah. So how did it feel for you to watch this with no fans in the stands?
didn't bother me. I actually I didn't prefer it, but I enjoyed that card with no fans. You hear those kicks, you hear those punches.
Punches were awesome.
You hear their coaches yelling at them and trainers.
It made my balls tingle when I heard them punches hit.
It was a much more intimate experience. Hearing more so what happens in the octagon. I think the crowd is where the hype comes from, though. Like, I mean, that's energy. Like that when you get that like lightning feel in the crowd. Like right before, like when people are walking out and they're announcing, you don't get that hype unless there's a crowd
the
there.
Cameras flashing and everybody.
So yeah, exactly, man. So I just I prefer it that way still. But by all means, if this is how it has to be, I'm still gonna buy all the good UFC cards, like on pay per view. So like
fans,
I'm not.
I thought about this. I'm like, fans give you the ambiance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just
that's what
that
I'm saying.
vibe, man.
So it's a total
like...
experience having that.
Now, I did see a couple fighters say they missed the fans, and I heard other fighters say, I kind of like the fact that I could hear my coaches and their coaches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like, where I was just like, oh, I can see where this could be a disadvantage, but I mean, at the same time, it's.
I mean, one of the fighters even admitted, he goes, yeah, I heard DC over there telling me to do this, and so he goes, so I did it.
Wasn't that like the first fighter of the night or some shit?
He heard a commentator say that he should be checking him on his kicks or on his punches, and he goes, so I did it.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say, if you think about like how excited that DC gets and Joe Rogan, and I wish I knew the other guy's name, but they get loud, they get boisterous, and they get pumped up when exciting shit's happening. And they're used to yelling over the microphone, talking about a fight. You know, you're gonna hear those guys, but you couldn't hear them before because they're
right.
You got fans and coaches and everything.
That's what I said too. Is they're normally talking much louder, and the funny thing is they were almost still talking in that voice.
Yeah,
just about.
Well, I tell you what I actually appreciated about it was the fact that they kept that feel of. Because if you and I are sitting there and we're just talking about the fight like you and I are talking now, for a commentator's job is to tell the story of the fight, but also to draw people in. And if you get somebody, I would say a novice fan like you and I would have to say, consider us a very novice fan of MMA, to really bring us in. They're also there to sell. Sell the excitement. So
Yep.
so why should I do that? And the excitement that they bring when they're talking about it will make you be like, huh, well, this is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
So I think that they did a great job on still giving me that feel of, hey, this is actually worth my time.
Yep.
So if you do golf, and I mean that's the reason why you don't have a lot of people watching golf unless you're a golf fan or tennis. You know what I mean? Like these very monotone sports that make you have to breathe very quietly as they kick. So it's oh, there goes my heater. If you hear it in the background, I'm sorry, folks.
What?
But
CB.
use your vowels. Got to get Joe Rogan excited. So I don't know. There was a ton of. I thought all they did a great job with that. Zion's out here making news. What's your boy doing? Your Messiah. Your Messiah. Oh, we're getting some LeBron talk here in a minute, but
I don't know, man. Like I'm getting really frustrated. So apparently, who are the ones that are accusing or saying that there potentially could have been tampering?
So what happened was,
yeah, go ahead.
I got some names here. Gina Ford, who's the president of the organization called Prime Sports, basically is suing and making it so they're trying to force Zion to admit to demanding money and other goods and such to go to Duke.
Yeah.
So, and Nike. They're saying Nike too. And I'm like, add me if you just said demanded money. All right? You throw Nike into it? Come on, man. I'm not buying the shoes part of it. I just don't think that, because it also goes on an article I have up here in front of me. They even go on to talk about Adidas was one of these same companies sitting there saying, hey, stop it. Nike's not doing that.
Yeah,
guess
agreed.
what? Zion's signing with Nike regardless, because what did Michael Jordan do?
Yeah.
What did LeBron James do? What Kobe went to Adidas first and then ended up going to Nike because Adidas fucking made terrible shoes.
Yeah.
So that stupid.
Yeah, agreed. I'm frustrated at the fact that, I personally feel like this is just some kind of like shot at Zion. He's finding success in his career, and somebody's just like straight up hating. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like, why is this coming out now? What's the point? Like, I don't know, man. I'm skeptical about accusations that are happening this late, and I don't know. I guess I'm just, in general, I'm just over the pettiness. Like,
So apparently she sued because basically Zion was with Prime Sports, or was supposed to be with Prime Sports, and then basically said, yo, I'm not going to do it. He ended up going with the Creative Artist Agency before his career really took off. And basically they actually sued. I don't know how we didn't hear about this. Great PR team. But they're seeking. She tried to sue them and Creative Artist Agency, CAA, for $100 million last summer for and damages of breach of contract and a bunch of other offenses. So
sure. And they're saying that he was it his mom and dad also took bribes and money.
Yep.
In exchange and all this kind of crap. I mean, if it ends up being true, I'm going to put my foot in my mouth, but.
Well, even if it is true, once again, another reason why I hate the one and done. I mean, you're gonna have this regardless. I mean, because we had this when there wasn't that rule in effect. You know what I'm saying? Where you had to go for a year.
Right.
But it's stupid for them not to be able to make money. I just think that it's the same that goes for Lonzo Ball, right? Lonzo Ball made more money in endorsements. Now this isn't a fact, but I can almost guarantee you this is something that can't be ever proven. Lonzo Ball made more money in endorsements becoming a Los Angeles Laker than he would have if he would have been a Memphis Grizzly.
Mm-hmm.
That rookie year.
Yeah.
Just rookie year alone. It's about where you go, right? And that's the reason why I'm a huge fan of the fact that the NCAA is letting these guys make money on their own fucking likenesses. But guys, more is about ready to come about this. I'm sure that this story's not going to go away. I mean,
no,
especially with the fact that there's no sports going on, and this is about the only thing we had to talk about.
Yep.
But I do have.
What time is it?
Let's move in to the last stand. We didn't talk about it much last week. We kind of started to, and then we kind of just we were running along anyway, so it was a good reason not to have that conversation.
Yeah.
You've been watching. What are your thoughts, man? Myself a drink.
I mean, I've been enjoying all of it, man. Like, so Justin asked me what I think, like, what have you learned? And I told him that, like, from an accolade standpoint, I knew what Jordan did. I know what he was able to accomplish. Like, on paper, I got all of that. Obviously, what I'm learning more of is more of his personal life, like with his mom and his dad. I'm learning more about the type of person he was to his teammates, to his front office, things like that. I mean, the dude has drive. And the thing is everybody has different ways of going about it. And, some people, like, he was concerned that people would see him as an asshole from the way he composes himself and the way he speaks to, like, the people he's around when he's working. But I do understand where he's coming from. When you want something that bad, like, you're going to work for it. And another thing that I noticed is I didn't really start seeing a lot of this, like, quote unquote, like, asshole Jordan until his later years, his veteran years. Not until like 93, you know what I mean? Coming back 96, 90, like, these are when we're really starting to see Michael speak up, get in his teammates' faces. He had always done that during his career, but, like, now they're highlighting it primarily, and it's been his later years. And I think when you get to a point where you feel like you were at the bottom and you worked your way to the top and you know what it takes to be a champion, and you see yourself working for that and you earn that by dedication and hard work, and then you come back to a team or, specifically after his leave for baseball and the strike. The strike was in baseball, but, when his leave from the NBA and then came back, you got all these guys on here who didn't go through all of that, turmoil in their earlier years as far as, like, building up to a championship team. So, like, I find it crazy interesting. I mean, I still got mad respect for Michael Jordan. I would say, I think by default, I think everyone's going to walk away saying I respect him a little bit more. I respect Pippen a little bit more. I respect Rodman a little bit more. And I got more to say to it, but I'll leave it at that for right now. So
Jordan came into a Bulls organization that was almost on its way out.
Mm-hmm.
And then and what he did was solidify that they were here to stay. I mean, he worked it there.
Yeah. Took him 7 seasons to get there, but yeah.
But I mean, that's,
I'm not taking anything away from him. I just want to make sure.
I mean, like, here's the thing.
busted ass for 2 years.
Well, you gotta keep in mind that you had to get rid of a bunch of players and make way for new players.
Yeah. I mean, dude, he had to wait
If
for
this
another
doesn't happen
decade.
overnight.
It took almost, another era transition in the NBA before things really started getting successful.
Well, he was the next era. He was the next era because
you see what I'm saying. Like they were talking about Magic's on his way out, Larry's on his way out, Irving's on his way out. Like all of these guys are at the end of their careers, not end, but you know what I mean.
Magic wasn't on his way out. Magic got AIDS. HIV, excuse me. So I mean, that's the only thing that got Magic out of there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to.
He still left the league. What I'm saying is these guys weren't rookies when Michael was a rookie. Let's just leave it at that. Then that simplifies what I'm saying.
Yeah.
From a pure age standpoint, Michael coming through all and working his ass off, he was working through legends. By the time he hit his prime, that was Michael's, at that point, he was the NBA. There was no question about it. Once that happened. But those
things happen with his work ethic and the fact that the way that he went about the game, because of the fact that one of the big things that that you had to have caught was when he realized that he was going to get bullied and going through Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
The only road to a championship, it was through Detroit. And he was going to get hit and he was going to get beat up really bad going to those. What do you do? All right, what do I have to do to be able to beat these guys? Well, I'm small and they're throwing me around the place. What happens if I get big and strong? Now I can dish out the pain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to change what I do as a player to be great. And he demanded, this is what I personally am seeing, and he's demanding everybody else to look inside themselves to find their own greatness, right? He went away about it that I would say this generation of basketball player would not respond to. The last player to go and have that kind of mentality to bring out the best in the team would be Kobe, and that aspect and that mannerism of, hey, this is how we're going about it. Bring 100%. Don't be a little bitch. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what we are here to do together. If you're not with it, get to the fucking back of the bus and hop out the back because I'm leaving you behind. We're trying to win championships here. I don't think it was necessarily later in his career. It was after he realized what it took to win.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't after the first 3 championships. It was during the first 3 championships that he was still fucking, yo, you're playing like shit. I mean, because that's how he got Scotty to get better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He made Scotty better by fucking stop being a bitch. Fucking join up. Let's rock. You know, just kept on hitting him. Let's go. He pushed it on. Now, I think this past week's episodes really delved in deep to as Michael Jordan being an asshole. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to play this little clip here for you because this resonated with me, man.
When people see this, they're going to say, well, he wasn't really a nice guy. He may have been a tyrant. Oh, well, that's you because you never won anything. I wanted to win, but I wanted them to win and be a part of that as well. I don't have to do this. I'm only doing it because it is who I am. That's how I played the game. That was my mentality. If you don't want to play that way, don't play that way. Break.
that right there, that let me understand they don't make humans like him. When I thought about that, I was just like, you were an athlete when you were younger. Did you ever have that mentality to the fact that you were willing to do more than everybody else on your team?
Not in the years that it mattered.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Any year that he stepped on the court, that's mattered to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Anytime when he went and played baseball, being the best to go above and beyond, that mattered. He always, I mean, and it made me realize that he wasn't there to, he believed that the job was the job and it was to be the absolute best. And you should put everything in it that he's willing to put into it. As a leader, as a boss, as a leader, you know, and I don't want to use the word boss, but I mean as a leader though, you want to show that you are willing to you're not going to ask anybody to do something that you're not willing to do. And even I can't remember which ball player it was. If it was I don't think it was BJ Armstrong, but I think it was I can't remember. I can't remember who it was. But basically, one of his own teammates last night even said he never asked you to do something he wasn't willing to do. And the fact that, like, him just having to defend himself of the reason why he worked so fucking hard and what he expected out of people, and then it brought that emotion out. He started to cry. He had to call break. Like,
yeah,
you know, like, yo, we got to fucking stop for a minute because I shouldn't be feeling this bad about wanting to be the best and wanting to take other people along for that ride to feel that great about themselves. Clay, I want you to be the best person that you could possibly be. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make you the best. Even if it may make me the best me, but it's going to make you the best you too. Cannot fault me for wanting to do that.
Sure.
And that's what, you know, when people say he's an asshole and he's, you know, this, that, and the other, that's them saying they didn't respect what he really wanted to bring to the table for them.
Mm-hmm.
My personal opinion.
Sure.
You know, and you know, I'm not trying to call you out about, like, were you willing to fucking go the over above? But I mean, that's kind of my leading up to the fact that, you know, I never did. I mean, like, even when I thought that I was, I don't think I really was. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I do know what you mean.
You know, because I'm sitting there, I'm like, I did that. No, because here's the thing. You got to walk around with that confidence of I'm the absolute best.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he did. He walked around with that confidence. You know, not everybody, you can't always bring out the best people the way that, bring out the best people the way that he did, but somehow he did it. You know, and when I watched that and I watched these highlights, it made me think about Kobe Bryant when he was walking off the court and he was like, if you're not going to fucking, you know, practice and give 100%, you're doing me no good. Get the fuck out of here. You know, and I mean, that's the mentality. You won't see that with LeBron because LeBron wants to be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Something watching this, you know, docu-series, something I already knew, you know, like Michael Jordan, he wanted to win. I mean, it was not this past weekend, but the weekend before where, once again, I got to take notes. I should have taken notes, but so I can remember who said what. But they were like, everybody else was playing basketball. Michael Jordan is playing a different game because he's just playing to win. You know, like you change once cornhole. We'll use that as a analogy,
sure.
right?
I mean, dude, he was throwing quarters against the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he was like,
You
I'm
know?
gonna throw this quarter closer than you're gonna throw that quarter. $100.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just about being, the competitive. I forgot where I was going because you threw me with quarters because I forgot about that.
He makes everything good. He wants to be the best in everything he does. He wants to win at everything. And not only beat you, he wants to shit on you. He wants to destroy you. The competition fuels Michael Jordan. He eats that shit for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
He was at a dinner and George Karl walked past his table and he said, "Hey," and he didn't even say hi to him. And he goes, "All right," and then fucked up.
Went and beat the Knicks.
No, it was the Supersonics.
Was it the Sonics?
Yeah, because George Karl was the coach of them with Gary Payton and Sean Kemp.
Okay.
There was two things that happened during the Supersonics.
Yeah.
Thing. One that was getting ready to come up on Father's Day, and it was right after he had, it was about 3 years after, but I mean, still, it doesn't matter. Anytime you lose your dad, it's still too fresh. And, so there was the Gary Payton switching over. Like, I'm going to guard Michael Jordan, and Gary Payton thinking that, I shut him down. And Mike disrespectfully laughed at him. Did you see that? You see that part?
Yeah.
And but and then the George Karl thing.
So let me ask you this, and I'm gonna let you answer, because I feel like for all of those people out there who make the argument, and we're gonna just use, like, it doesn't even matter who you're comparing them to. When people make the argument that Michael didn't have help, this documentary is doing a shit fucking job at making it look like Jordan didn't have help. They've consistently talked about, dude, people always talk about that shit. Jordan didn't need help. Jordan didn't need to build a team. Jordan didn't need anybody to come to Chicago to help him win. I hear that shit all the time, bro, because they use it. They use it in combatant to LeBron James selling out and going to Miami, and they talk about how Jordan didn't need to leave.
Are these young kids you're talking to,
no,
or I mean,
human beings from the ages of 20 to 80. I've heard it multiple times, and I'm not making this shit up because I talk a lot of sports. You know that. I've heard that being said a lot. Now, I'm not saying every single person has a sports podcast or watch them like Michael. You know what I mean? Like, take that with a grain of salt. But I'm saying, like, being a LeBron fan, I've heard any and everything from true Michael Jordan supporters and honestly fake Michael Jordan supporters. And I have heard that, and they they'll be like, oh, well, he had Pippen, but like, they don't fucking talk about Horace Grant, B.J. Armstrong. You know what I mean? Like they're like, B.J. Armstrong was garbage. Tony Kukoc. I didn't realize he was the #1 player in the international basketball world.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Like, they even said, he goes, oh yeah, he could have played anywhere else and he was the best in the world other than the NBA, because the NBA at that point in time was ridiculous. But my point being is, I'm not saying like Jordan built a super team. I understand what happened. All I'm saying is I've gained respect for Michael. You kind of, if you don't say you gained it, I feel like even if you already knew everything he did, the documentary does such a good job about following the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan. You're going to come out of there just being like, wow, like, that is nuts. Yeah. But I mean, all I'm saying is Jordan had more than I'm not saying he couldn't have done it without some of these guys. He had more than enough help come his championship runs. You know what I mean? Like, there was more, and Dennis Rodman, thank you. There was more than enough help during both of his runs.
I think it's so now there's no thing. I'll tell you why LeBron catches the flack for that. It's because he went and looked for it where Michael didn't look for it.
Agreed.
And he's just like, I mean, like, he literally, except for Dennis Rodman, he literally just took whatever they gave him.
Mm-hmm.
And LeBron has not done that.
Yeah.
That's what that was. I think that's the big argument for everybody that is a huge diehard Michael Jordan fan.
Yep.
I
would say on as far as timeline goes, LeBron switched to Miami at the same time Jordan was blessed with the addition of the talent that got him his first ring. They both went the same stretch of years with their first organization before they made runs. So with that being said,
LeBron did it before.
Coincidence? Well, LeBron was with Cleveland for what, 6 or 7 years?
They went to the finals though.
Oh, they did make one run. I'm sorry, yeah. I mean, Jordan didn't make a final. No, he did. Didn't he go to the finals and get swept?
Eastern Conference. Eastern Conference.
By Magic?
By Detroit. They met.
Those were their first runs. Yep. I'm sorry. Yep, that was back when Pistons won it all. Yeah, I'm sorry. But I thought they made it to. No, he's never been beaten in the finals.
Nope.
Yeah, it was East. It was all.
And that's
Eastern
that's one of the
Conference
biggest arguments I ever hear about people is Jordan's never lost in the finals. How many Game 7s has Jordan lost? None, because he never even made it to a Game 7. Those are the arguments that I see about the comparison between LeBron and Mike. Now. My biggest now I'm having to talk bad about a Laker and I'm not liking this, but the biggest thing that I dislike about LeBron is one of the things that I know a lot of people love about him is his desire to make everybody else look good instead of just win.
I'm with you. I mean, I've even complained about that.
You know, if he doesn't have that I'm going to beat you at all cost mentality. If he's going to lose, he wants to lose as a team, and if he wins, he wants to win as a team.
Yeah.
And as honorable as that is,
yeah, that doesn't get you the result every time.
That leads you to. Here's the thing: he never has this opportunity. All right, never. Rest of his career, he could win out. Well, if he wins out, he's take over.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But
I was gonna say he's got many years.
I mean, but he will forever lose. I think in a rightfully argumented conversation, he will forever lose the GOAT argument.
Sure.
You know, did he bring out the best in everybody around him? No.
See, I can't wait to see it's obvious, especially with Kobe's doc coming out here soon. There's going to be a LeBron James one now. It'll probably take another 20 years before we get it. Hopefully not, but realistically, I'm excited to see that one too. Because
what are they going to show you that he doesn't show you already? Here's the thing is what's so magical about this Jordan doc and what will be magical about the Kobe doc is that social media wasn't around like it is now, right? LeBron is actively.
Kobe's doc is about his last season.
His last season, yeah. But I mean, he didn't cover it. Mm-hmm. LeBron's on Instagram. Kobe didn't have an Instagram. I mean, he might have had an Instagram, but he didn't have an Instagram that he was actively doing anything on.
Steve, you wouldn't watch that documentary about LeBron James because if your argument is absolutely would,
I would watch it.
Then
sure.
I mean, you're downplaying the idea of still being able to see the behind the scenes.
I'm curious. I'm more curious of his business.
LeBron.
I'm more curious about him business than his basketball.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I disagree, but sure. I think it would be extremely interesting, fan or not. I think it would be amazing to watch. There's always things. I mean, if things happen behind closed doors that we don't know about with friends and family, you can't tell me that there aren't things you don't know behind closed doors about a stranger you've never met. And yes, he's on Instagram, but everything on Instagram is either dinner with his family, something to do with business, or working out. So what happens in between? Where are the actual clips of him in practice getting in somebody's ass? Where are those? You know what I mean? Where are those clips to see, his run, kind of like how MJ was talking about not Dream Team, but later on in MJ's career and Kobe's, they're all played for Team USA and all that shit.
I think it would be way too bold of a statement for me to say.
Cool shit.
I think it'd be way too bold of a statement for me to say that he doesn't get in anybody's ass, but I can honestly say that the day after Kobe got in the team's ass and walked off of the court, it was out there on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
The day after. All right. In today's world, in LeBron's world especially, when everybody's waiting to watch the fucking Golden Child slip up. I just feel like if there was that instance, it would have already been out there. I just
Maybe.
I just don't think he's been put in a situation where I don't feel like his back's ever been up against the wall, man. Kobe did it at the end of his career, his legacy career. Like, this was after Powell was gone, and this was with fucking Scrappy P.
Yeah.
And this was with that team. You know what I mean? This LeBron, I mean, he just hasn't had to have that happen yet, and I
don't know. That's why I'm not stating it's not happening.
I'm not saying. I think I gave myself a nice little cushion.
Expensive though too, because especially with a documentary like The Last Dance coming out, it's just gonna fuel all of these fucking Jordan fans, and once again, like I said, fake Jordan fans and fake Kobe fans that are low key LeBron haters, and they just feed off the legends to fuel the hatred for what is LeBron James. And people are going to be fucking sad when greatness leaves this goddamn league, and they're going to regret not actually appreciating what they got to watch, what they got to witness. I'm telling you, bro. Like you said,
so
LeBron can't do good, CB. He can't. He'll forever be the guy that no one will credit. Even if he wins out, he could walk away with more rings than Michael Jordan, and he will still not even get the idea conversation of being great. Like, it's just not going to happen. And that's what I feel like, unfortunately, his legacy will be until we look back at just the numbers. And when people look back and see the records that he demolished in his career, then they're going to be like, oh yeah, he was a great player. And no one's going to talk about LeBron selling out. They're going to talk about his greatness and how he came in and dominated the damn league for his entire career. That's when he'll be great.
Okay, so there is always a next great basketball player that everybody's willing to put on the pedestal, right? You go from
Zion may be that one right now.
What's that? Zion's that guy right now. You know what I mean? He's that new handoff, right? And I mean, and granted, we're not even a full year in. And I'm giving him that, and we're both kind of giving him that.
I just feel like that's what everyone thinks he could become, is the next great with his skill set.
Well, I mean, I feel like that conversation has been had since he was in high school, because that's exactly what happened with LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
I remember defending LeBron and Michael at the same time when I'm sitting there and I'm like, it's too LeBron's still in high school and everybody's like, yo, he's the next coming to Jordan. I'm like, that's not fair. I'm like, let the kid graduate, let him play a minute in the NBA. Let's let him, actually play. Do I believe he has a chance to be, the next, MJ? No, because Kobe was already there. He could be the next Kobe. But but no, I mean, like, I just think it's not fair to ever try to compare anybody to Michael Jordan. Because who did you compare Michael Jordan to? And it's not, you can't say you compare Michael Jordan to anybody because Michael Jordan was the best to ever be. No, because you had Magic and you had Larry and you had Wilt Chamberlain, you had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you had Dr. J, who could fly, Daryl Dawkins, I mean, like, you had basketball players before Michael Jordan. And it's only because of the fact that my age demographic is the majority that we can hype up Michael Jordan over everybody else right now.
Yeah, I won't disagree.
I actively rooted against LeBron James beginning in Miami. Why?
Sure.
Why? I think
I don't want to see. They don't want to see greatness.
No, I explained it.
No, I'm serious, man. Like,
no,
I'm not saying you, but like a lot
of
people got salty. Now, let's say he would have taken. Let's just say he would have taken his talents to the worst team in the NBA. No one would be saying shit about how arrogant LeBron James is. It's because he was the first player in history to say, you know what, I'm gonna play where I want to play, and that's just how it's gonna be. And people
I'm gonna
hate
play my
him.
friends.
People hate him for deciding that he wants to control his life and his career. When lo and behold, if you give anybody else the power in our situation right now to control our career, and then to have people come and wrong us for doing so, it's how funny is that, man? It's only cowardly in sports.
Yeah.
In no other situation, would there be I bettered myself today. Coward. Only sports, bro.
Well, and
I did what I needed
what's nuts
to do.
is the only reason why I dislike, and I know I've said it here before, but I just I'm a front office guy. I like watching the non-athletes put together a team, or even former athletes put together a team. I like that. I dislike the fact that he took it out of those hands. Now, granted, Pat Riley, had to move numbers around and shit, but at the end of the day, if you look at what has been the constant going forward, especially with free agency, players are deciding on where they want to play, and not even, and they're looking to, hey, how can we create this super team? Even what was it? Was it Danny Ainge in Boston? He at least traded for Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. You know what I mean? Like that was their front office move.
Isn't it crazy to think that LeBron was the trailblazer to establish what is the league today, but yet he still doesn't get any love or credit for it? What I mean by that is when he first did it, he was the worst thing to happen to sports. Now people are almost encouraging super teams because you need them to beat the Golden State Warrior type rosters, and you need them, to go against these powerhouse teams. And it's so funny how, because it's different, people hate it. But now that it's a norm, people are not saying they like it, but they're accepting that it's part of the game now, and it's whatever. People don't like change. People don't like when things become different and players go against the grain, yet that's how we have the historical figures we've had in this country and world. I know I'm blowing this way out of proportion, but
no, you're absolutely right.
But my point being is once again, because it's sports, he's a coward.
Well, I mean, I remember my dad didn't like Michael Jordan. Taking it back to Mike real quick. My dad didn't like Michael Jordan. Why? Because he said he got away with too many fouls, all this other stuff. He's traveling and all this stuff. But what he's not saying is, wow, they're really beating the shit out of Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? Like the adversity that he had to go to be, maybe he's taking, maybe he is getting that third step when you're only supposed to get two. But guess what? He got hit 15 times in the rib cage by a fucking fist. Yeah. Or a fucking elbow, Yeah. And so shit, what's his name? Harden. That little fucking Euro step, or not
step
the Euro
back,
step, the fucking step back thing, that could be easily looked at as a travel, but is it really? If you look at old school basketball, then yeah. But I mean, you can't do it that much and not get called, So I remember this past winter I was at one of my CB's basketball game, and this little kid, he did that fucking little James Harden fucking step back splash. They fucking travel. I go, that ain't nothing but a James Harden step back, man. Yeah, you gotta leave it alone.
That's funny.
The ref was just like, that was
James
a little bit more.
James Harden teaching the youth how to travel. Good job, James.
So, but I also think, because I was thinking about you a lot this week as the past 24 hours because of the Jordan doc, probably the week because of the Jordan doc that we were thinking about and how I was going to compare Jordan and LeBron. And I think a lot of Jordan lovers, like Jordan fans, stans, put him over LeBron because LeBron changes, acquired a fan base and all that because of how he, just how he is.
I would say his hype coming out of high school, bro. The media created the hype of LeBron James.
But I'm saying that, like, but fans, like, you can have all the hype in the world, but you can
like
have
LeBron fans.
Like, just my kids love LeBron. You know what I mean? And it's not because of, it's because of just who he is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's a very marketable, happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah, for sure.
But do I think that he changed the game of basketball? That's what Michael Jordan did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the reason why those fans that are Jordan fans that say that LeBron isn't the GOAT is because he didn't really change the game of basketball.
You say, I need to know your definition of change. Like, are we talking like impact on the court? Like, let me put it this way: would you argue that Steph Curry changed the game of basketball? He changed the game more than LeBron. I'm asking you this because one could argue
changed the game more.
One could argue saying that Steph changed the game because he made it a 3-point league. That doesn't mean that impact makes that player historic, which Curry's broken so many records. Like, he's future Hall of Fame, unless for some reason
I was going to say like LeBron, or not LeBron.
It's hard to sit here and say for somebody who's played for 15 years. How long LeBron's been at it now? 16.
Something like that, yeah.
2000.
Well, yeah, we're in 17th shoe, I think.
Yeah, dude. I was gonna say, dang, he's on tripping. He's up in he's almost at 20 coming up in here like a year or two.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, never mind. So nonetheless, point being, like for somebody to have been for that many years, like in the running, not every year, but like to be MVP, to consistently be making finals and playoffs and breaking records. I'm not saying that he changed the game of like basketball, but LeBron has made a big enough impact in the fact that, like, having a player like that who can play all 5 positions but do it as dominantly as LeBron. Like, I feel like very few players.
He was the second to do it that size.
Play 1 through the 5. But what I'm saying is like he's doing things that we haven't necessarily always seen. And
Magic Johnson did that in the fucking 70s.
Once again, so did Magic change the game, or did he have no impact in the game of basketball?
I'm just saying that,
that's why I need to understand.
LeBron James is only doing shit Magic did. It's already done.
He's doing it better. He's surpassing that in some categories.
If you can't see my hands on my hip right now.
Tell me a time somebody said who's better, LeBron James or Magic. They don't do it for a reason. It's not a comparison. You already know I'm a huge Magic fan.
Because you already know I'm a huge Magic fan. You don't compare anybody to Magic.
What? So he's your GOAT. Magic Johnson, greatest of all time. No comparison. Because you can't, right? You just said you can't compare Magic.
I honestly
you're thinking about it. There's no comparison.
I'm sitting here trying to think if I could compare anybody to Magic Johnson's game. I honestly could not.
So, ultimate game changer ever. He changed the NBA the most.
Let's see here. I
know you're trying to work your way out of this hole.
No, I'm trying to figure out if there's a better point guard. Like, he was a point guard. That was his position. Also went down in center and still who the fuck did he stop down there? I can't remember. But like what's that in a fucking finals game. In a finals game, he had to play center. But if I had to, you're asking me if I had to pick a GOAT?
Well, you were talking about players who have changed the game of basketball.
And at that time, it was, like, because I would say for my argument's sake of what I was trying to get to, Magic Johnson would not be that guy.
Yeah, I don't think LeBron changed the game either. I'm saying LeBron had a very heavy impact on what a player like his build can do in the NBA. Like, he's a staple.
Everybody knows that a 6'9" guy to be that agile, like, there's a reason why you had to go 40 years between Magic and then you get LeBron. All right.
So are you calling them like similar?
I'm calling them very
in a sense,
similar.
pound for pound, the game would be similar.
Yes.
And I would argue that also Magic Johnson has made a tremendous impact in the game of basketball.
Yes.
I would
the
agree
reason
with
why
you.
Go ahead.
I was
No,
going to say
you go.
I would agree with you if you said Magic and LeBron had an equal impact on the game. I would 100% agree with that.
I could appreciate
what I'm
that.
trying to figure out is when we talk about that, we're obviously talking about on-court accolades, because we can't say Michael changed the game off the court, because when you change the game of basketball, it's due to performances. And Mike gave us tremendous scoring, obviously numerous scoring titles, multiple, 2 3-peats, like multiple championships. So we also know he's a winner. And his work ethic, I think, is what's driving the fact that he changed the game, because of his work impact gave him the results that make him the greatest. So
I think the fact
it's hard,
that he changed everything about his game to compete and be the best. Like there's different Jordans, right? I mean, there's just been different Jordans throughout time. Throughout his whole career.
Yeah,
well,
I wasn't there
for
his changes. He seemed like the same fucking Jordan I know. Give me the ball, I'm gonna score a shit ton of points and win. Like, it didn't look like that changed from his rookie year up until his final year in the NBA. He worked harder than everybody and was good enough to back up all of his hard work. There's muscle memory for that man.
I was gonna say he just knew where he's at on the court. But Magic and LeBron would be the most comparable ball players together. I don't think that it's ever been fair to compare him to Mike. One, he doesn't have that drive to win. Secondly, it's easier for a kid to, and this kind of goes to Steph Curry too. It's easier for a kid to see themselves being a Michael Jordan or Steph Curry or Kobe Bryant, because those sizes of human beings can be attainable.
Yeah, anyone can shoot the throw up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and to do the
you can
things
be a big
that
guy
they did,
to shoot a 3. You could be a small guy to shoot the 3.
Yeah, you can shoot a 15-footer. You can shoot a 15-footer. You can drive to the rack. These are normal human being sizes. Not saying that LeBron's not a normal human being, but 6'9", that's fucking big. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And to be able to move that agile, it's not. He doesn't have a game that you sit there and say, I want to play like LeBron James. If you want to be like LeBron, you want to be like LeBron because of the notoriety of who he is. And what I
would argue that right now LeBron would be, from, if you're just thinking of athletes, prototypical like builds, LeBron is a top 10 athlete in the world, I think, of what people would choose to be like. I don't know another NBA player where people were like, he legitimately could play in the NFL. Like, there was actual talks.
Michael Jordan ran a 4.3.
Super athlete. Yeah, super athlete. 4.3?
Yeah.
I don't remember them talking about that. You must have read that on Wikipedia. It's all user content.
No, it was actually
MichaelJordan.com.
It was. I don't remember what interview it was, but he didn't say it. But I mean, somebody was speaking on part of the fact that, like, he ran a 4.3.
Yeah, and I'm not taking anything away from Mike, but I'm saying, like, there are other athletes of his height and weight, you know what I mean, that can shoot a basketball. Take away the greatness. I'm just saying, from, once again, science. Like, I'm looking at these builds. You find somebody like LeBron who's running 4.24, or like I was gonna say 4.34, 4.4, like, who's a half second behind Mike. Why would you not take the guy who's got 3 or 4 inches? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's what I'm talking about. He is built like a fucking monster, bro. Yeah. But he's an athlete. If you put LeBron on a track, I'd be confident LeBron could run. If you put LeBron on a football field, I'm confident LeBron could, like, do something. If you put him, like, he's just that kind of athlete. And Mike was the same way when it came to the game of baseball. But like you said, he's normal human You know what I mean? He's like a normal human. Like we look at people, Julio Jones. I'm going to use him for an example. For somebody that big to still be able to run in the 4.3s is obnoxious. That is obnoxious. So once again, that's freak. You don't get to see that too often, even in the NFL. The quick guys are 5'11", 6'1", not fucking 6'8", 6'7". Like that's just that's ridiculous. So I was just referring to that as I feel like when I look at LeBron, I don't just see basketball player. I truly see athlete, and I don't see that in every NBA player. Steph Curry, NBA player. Like I'm sure he's athletic,
or
but
tennis.
But yeah. When it comes to women, Williams sisters. Fucking dude, they're built for fucking sports. They're fucking athletes. If you put one of them in the ring, I'm confident they'll throw hands. Like, and I just mean that because they're strong women. But my point being is like there are certain athletes out there.
That's just where they from. That's all that is.
They're just athletes, bro. Like it don't matter what they're doing, they're going to be the best at what they do, and that's just how it's going to be.
But
I'm not saying Mike's not that. We've learned that. All I'm saying is in reference to size, stature, and build. LeBron gives you things
the best?
Guys his size. No, I'm saying that when it comes to what he can do with his size, that's unprecedented.
So this year, I was gonna say, so this year, and we're gonna talk another person. I'm kind of bringing this into another person that his size. This year, though, for I believe our season's over with. But who did you have win an MVP
in the NBA?
Yeah.
Either probably LeBron or like Giannis. I don't really think there's another option. There is no other option.
No, there's no other option. Giannis was who I personally have.
It's kind of hard to not give it to him, because he just. I mean, don't get me wrong, Milwaukee's no slouch team, but like that dude's been so consistent over the last like 3-4 years, man. Like it's ridiculous. I mean, LeBron has been good too. You could argue LeBron coming off his injury and having the season that he had, you could say like, what a better comeback, most valuable player, but him or Giannis 50-50, maybe 51-49. It would be super close.
Here's the thing: is his injury it did take him a while to come back, but I mean he could have came back and played every game last year, but he didn't. Which I mean, it makes sense. I mean,
I'm talking about
you're playing
the
long
comeback
ball,
adds to the story. It adds to the story.
Yeah.
That's all. I'm not saying it would be a deciding factor, but it's still something to look at.
Right.
Like how Kawhi went and won MVP. Oh, moving to Toronto with a new team. Like what the fuck? Why does that matter in my MVP race? But like it was a touching point that they talked about because to be able to go somewhere you're not familiar with and do that. So I was just saying it just adds to the story. No deciding factor in my opinion, but
What was your thoughts when you saw at the end of the last championship run that they just showed last night
96
when Jordan was crying on the floor?
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, after losing his father, especially the way it happened, like I couldn't imagine. I mean, you play basketball for what? He came in 84, and this was 96, so 12 years, and your dad being with you every step of the way, and then to come back from baseball, which fulfilled the dream of your fathers, who just died.
And if it wasn't for the strike, there's a good chance he never came back for this game.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't have.
He would have stayed baseball.
Well, I was gonna he very well could have made an MLB team. He could have made the way that they were talking.
Terry Francona said if he would have stayed in the league for 12 years, he would have found his way to an MLB team.
No, 1,500 hits. He's like, give him 1,500 more at bats.
Sorry, it was like 1,500. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. And he's just like, he found out about the curveball. And then what did he do? He worked before practice and after practice about that curveball, like he did with everything else. Like, I'm sorry, like the determination to be the absolute best ended with Kobe. For the particular sport that you were planning on.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean,
You know what's funny is I'm not even as impressed with his work ethic to become the best. I'm more impressed with the fact that he was able to actually do it. A lot of people work their ass off just as hard, but
mm-mm.
don't have the talent to fucking put it on the court. He put it on the court too. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
Because like
I
I mean, I would argue for devil's advocate purposes, I would argue with somebody just to like see where the argument goes, and I'd say Jordan didn't work harder than anybody else. Like there are other guys that worked equally as hard that we don't talk about that just didn't have his talent.
and devil's advocate for you. I mean, not
Yeah.
devil's advocate. Me challenging you, devil's advocate. Name me who.
Yeah, that's my point. They weren't talked about because they didn't have the. All I'm saying is if by work ethic means I'm gonna put up 1,000 free throws before every game, after every game, I'm gonna run this much. I'm saying from a workout standpoint, that can be obtained. Still gotta have talent to be able to do it.
But it's the intensity of the workout. Like you and I could go and we could go bench the same. We start out the exact same weight. If let's say we have equal strength, we find out you and I we're not even the same weight. We go figure out what our 1 rep max is, right? Bench press. We'll make that right. We both go figure it out, and then we start working the percentages. It's not about the physical strength at that point. It's about how much are you willing to put in the effort.
Mm-hmm. And I'm saying I put in the equal amount. No difference. What I'm saying is Jordan was I'm not saying that's it. I'm not saying that's it.
There's always a breaking point.
I mean, we're generally speaking. Don't overthink it. You and I both work out the same, but you're naturally built stronger. Scientific DNA in your body makes you better. I'm saying I am impressed that no matter what Michael Jordan practiced, he did become the best at it. That's crazy. I mean, I guess he wasn't the best at baseball, but holy cow.
He batted 200.
To go out. That's what I'm saying. To go out there after I haven't played baseball in 12 years, let me try this out. Oh, yeah, I can hack it. Now let me make this my one and only. Next year, I'll be hitting 220. Then I'll be 270. Then I'll be over 300. Then I'll be in the MLB. Like
he would have been in the MLB before you hit 300.
No, I know. But I'm saying if Terry Francona truly believes that Michael had a shot at making the league, like that's fucking impressive.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Granted, there's a lot of athletes out there. You got your Pat Mahomes and you got a Russell Wilson. You got a ton of guys who could have been playing pro baseball, and who knows, they could have been amazing. But like to actually go and do
Pat
it.
Mahomes in a Tigers uniform.
Think about it, dude, him and Bo Jackson. Like that what I mean by that is being one of the best in, well, Michael was never the best, I guess. Bo was fucking good. Bo Jackson did what Michael did, but a hell of a lot better.
Well, I mean, Bo was the best at football.
Yeah.
And then he just happened to be, I mean, because he was so strong and he had a great eye.
Yeah.
Great eye-hand coordination.
Mm-hmm.
He's able to smoke that fucking ball.
Yeah.
And another reason why you put him in right field, because of the fact that, like, once again, you got a long throw. He's strong as fuck, so he's gonna throw a fucking pea.
You want to talk about athletic builds? There's another dude right there. His strength was off the charts, man. Premier.
But I mean, like, and I'd be really curious to know if he worked hard or if it was just pure athleticism.
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you. But I'm saying, once again, another man who can work. Let's put it this way.
Herschel Walker, we spoke about him earlier, worked his ass off.
If Bo didn't work hard and did that, he's a better athlete than Michael Jordan.
Yeah, by far. By far.
I got a feeling Bo Jackson worked hard. That dude just looks like he enjoyed work. Like that was his shit. He got off on that shit.
Where's he from? Alabama? Where's he from?
He's from fucking Olympus. It's where fucking gods are made.
Right?
He's a freak, man. Holy cow. I would have loved to have witnessed something like that.
That was a lot of fun. I had his poster in my bedroom. It was black and blue because, he was a Raider and then he played for the Royals. And it had a bat, his shoulder pads. He's sitting there like this, and it was just dope. He had these dope-ass Bo Jackson shoes that were sick.
I used to keep posters of dudes up on my wall growing up, too.
First off,
I'm kidding.
He was Bo fucking Jackson.
I'm kidding, bro. Damn. I wish I could remember
he was
some
from
of my
Alabama.
childhood photos, like posters, like sports posters,
He
baseball
was
posters.
he was from Alabama, and he ran a 4.13.
Oh man.
6'1". That's fucking disgusting. 57 years old. Stay strong, Bo. We love you.
Okay.
Guys, we're running up to the 2-hour mark, so we're gonna have to call it quits because I could definitely keep play defending LeBron all day.
Defend shit. I don't gotta defend shit. I'm already better than Kobe, so I got you beaten. That's all I'm worried about.
Wait.
You heard
Wait,
me.
what? There's a reason why nobody says Kobe because of the fact that it just didn't even make sense. There's a perfect reason why.
All right, bro.
That's the reason why we don't talk about. That's the reason why we don't talk about Magic either.
And this before I make you cry, bro. I'm gonna say something.
Oh, please, man. Oh, all right, guys. Thank you again for joining us for episode number 83.
Woo.
Look at us keeping
83.
it going. Hey, I stopped at the liquor store. I know we're trying to end, but I stopped at the liquor store today, and the guy looks at me and goes, and I have my face mask on, and he goes, "Hey, you still got that podcast?" I'm like, "I sure do, my friend." And he goes, "I'm thinking about starting one." I'm like, "You should." You know,
and follow us first.
And so we're rapping and stuff, and you know, he wants to do a bourbon one, and he's thinking about doing it right in their store.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and I'm like, you should. I'm like, I looked at him, I'm like, you should do that. I was like, yo, you need to do that. And you know, I kind of gave him some info and stuff, but yeah, it was kind of cool to sit there and see somebody, a young buck,
a fan,
a listener, a proficient fan out there in these streets talking about doing their own hopes and dreams.
Damn right.
All right, guys, thank you, guys and gals, thank you again for joining us. We hope we have more sports to try to cover. Cornhole is live. I watched them wearing face masks the other day. So maybe we'll have some hot takes for cornhole. We're out. Peace.
Take care.